All right, students, it's time for the Thanksgiving Blender cook-off. On your marks, get set, bake! First thing we need to do is open Blender. Perfect. Click outside of that. All right, so we need to figure out what we're going to illustrate. If you're a vegetarian, maybe you don't want to do a turkey. Maybe you want to do Mr. Mashed Potatoes. Let's see if there's an image for Mr. Mashed Potatoes somewhere that we could use. Oh, that one's silly. Well, mashed potatoes might be kind of easy to do. Oh, look at that. That one's fun. Oh, Mr. Potato Head. That would be kind of cool. Whoa, I kind of like that. That's pretty sweet. So grab an image that you like. I'm going to go with this one right here. This looks pretty cool. And I am going to use my snipping tool, new, and I'm going to save this as my Mr. Potato Head. Okay. And I had used, let's see, when I did my Blender turkey, which one did I use? I think I used this one right here. And I'll just go ahead and save it, and then I'll show you what you're going to do with it. So you're going to actually upload that. I'm going to just right click on this box and delete it by hitting X or the delete key. And I'm going to open my properties panel. I think you can hit the letter N as in no. And that will open up the properties panel. Or of course you have that little plus sign right here. So when I go into the properties panel, scroll all the way down to the bottom and you'll see this little area here. This is called background images. And if you click on that and then add image, and scroll down. And then you're going to click open and you're going to find your 3D modeling work folder. And once that's open, if you want to see a preview of those, see up here you have different ways that you can display your files. Well, if you display them as thumbnails, you can see which one you're looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and open Mr. Potato Head. Of course, you cannot see it because you are in perspective mode and you need to be in orthographic mode. Do you remember what shortcut key you're going to hit to go into orthographic code? It's a number key. It is 5. So go into ortho mode and then let's see how we've got this image set up. Right now it's visible in all views. Now what that means is that it's visible from front, side, top, bottom, back views. Okay, that's what it means. We can't see it right now because we're not in one of those views. You can isolate it so that it is only visible from, like, for example, the front view. But it is kind of cool to be able to see it in all the other views. It just depends on what you're doing. So I'm going to leave it as all views, and then I'm going to hit the number 1. Why would I hit 1? Because 1 is front view, and then look, there's my Mr. Potato Head. If I hit 3 for side view, look, it's still there. If I hit 7 for top view, it's still there. Okay, but really I want to make it from the front view. Okay, so now it's time for you to get creative. Now you can play around with this picture a little bit. For example, right now the picture's in the back, and if you move it into the front, sometimes that works best so you can see it, and you can just decrease the opacity, but this will always be in front of what you're working on so you can always see your model. Okay, and then you can also move it. I know this is kind of weird. You could flip it if you were like, oh, I want them like that. Or you could flip them like that if it was upside down. But these right here, just click and drag from left to right. Or you can click and drag up and down. So let's say you want Mr. Potato on top of the x-axis instead of down below it, and then you can just hold shift and scroll to get that more centralized. Okay, now comes the problem solving. All right, so let's click on the Create tab over here in the tool shelf. Hopefully you are in 3D view. And I'm going to go ahead and start saving right now. So I'm going to go Save As, and I'm going to call this Mr. Potato version 1 and hit Enter. Okay, so constantly be saving different versions. All right, so oh gosh, if you had to pick one of these mesh shapes, which one would resemble a potato the most. And I'm going to recommend the UV sphere. So I'm going to take that UV sphere and I'm just going to go ahead. Oh, where was my cursor? It was in some funky place. I'm going to hit Control Z and get rid of that. I want my cursor right in the center. So I'm going to hit Shift S. Shift S to snap. And then I'm going to put that cursor to the center. That was a Shift S. Okay, so now let's go ahead and insert a UV sphere. So I know that it is nice and central, and I can hit S and I can scale it just by moving my mouse. All right, how does that look? That looks pretty groovy. All right, so you're like, oh, but this is not, you know, this isn't like that, Mrs. Girot. This different shape we're dealing with. Okay, so we have some transformation tools down here, okay? So we can actually click right here on scale, and now if I want, I can just scale it this way. Hey, it's starting to look a little bit more like a Mr. Potato Head. Woohoo, that's fun. Okay, there's some edges over here that I'm not crazy about the way that they're looking. So what I could probably do is, and if I move, watch, if I move this around, you'll notice that, oh, my image turns, it disappears and I can't see anymore that background picture. So I hit 1 to go back into my front view. But I do want to like play around with these edges right here. All right, let's see here. Let's look at our tools. Okay, awesome. I was just noticing down here there's a layers menu, and okay, so I have put this sphere on layer number 1, and I know this layers menu looks a little wonky, but right now you've got layer 1, and you can hide it, this layer, and make it visible, but maybe not from right here. Okay, I don't understand what that is. I don't know what that's all about. But let's click save because this is acting really weird. Okay, down here is also your layers. So I made this sphere on layer 1. I'm going to try to remember the next time I want to create something like his eyes or his mouth, I'm going to put that on a different layer. So let's start practicing to use our layers, okay? Let's go ahead under Tools. And I'm going to just use that C, the circular select tool, and I am going to hold down C, and I'm going to scroll to make that brush smaller, and I'm just going to go and, oops, you know what, I need to be in edit mode. Ooh, my computer's freezing up real good. Hold on. Right click. Right click. After you hit that C, you got to right click. Otherwise everything freezes. It's the weirdest thing. So go into edit mode. That's right. If I want to select some of these, I have to actually be in edit mode. So I'm going to hit A to deselect everything. A selects all. A deselect. Okay, grabbing, clicking down C, and I've got my brush about the size that I want it, and I just want to kind of go in here, and I am going to come around, whoops, right click to get rid of that so you can actually move it around. And I'm just going to hit C again, and I'm going to grab some more of these. But you know what? I think I might be on Vertex Select. Yeah, right click to get out of that C. I am. I want to select the faces. At least I think I do. Well, I could try the Vertex Select, but I think I'm going to just do faces. No, let's do Vertex. Let's see how it turns out. I'm curious. Okay, so I'm just going to go around and select some vertices around this area. And once I have those selected, I'm going to right click again to get out of that C thing. I'm going to hit 1 for my front view. And I am going to see what happens when I just start pressing in. Oh, it kind of makes it collapse a little bit. And I don't know if that's the effect I'm going for, but what the heck? I don't know. Or I could try hit 1, and I could hit Control Z and come back to normal, and then I could try like maybe just to slide them and see how that works. And I could, no, that's kind of funky. Whoa, that makes a big dent in Mr. Potato's head, which is kind of cool. Yeah, that could work. All right, I'm gonna go to 1. Okay, there's his dent, and now I'm going to hit A to deselect everything a couple of times, and this time I'm going to use my C, and I'm going to grab some of the vertices up here at the top of his head, and I'm going to right click to get out of that, and then scroll around and hit C again. Whoops, sorry. C again, and grab some more stuff from over here, and not really too concerned about it. Then I'm going to right click to get out of that C and hit 1, so I'm in front view again, and this time I'm going to try to drag these out and make a funny little Mr. Potato Head. Okay, so I can play around and just drag stuff from there and hit 1 for front view. Liking how that looks. This is a pretty simple process, not too hard. You guys could do this at home. Hold down A to deselect a couple of times. C, I'm going to come around here and grab some more of this stuff, and I'm just going to right click to get out of it, and then come over here and hit C again and get some from the back of his head too. Okay, just going over these. Yeah, I'm going to make a big ol' right click to get out of it, and you know, you can do it however you want. So you can go around and make your potato a little oblong, hit 1, and however you want to do that. You know, you can do them all at one time. You can go in and select different ones, but in the end, not a big deal. Just have a little bit of fun with it, okay? So I do have this option in my tool shelf somewhere to smooth. I'm going to get out of my vertex and hit A, and I'm going to go into object mode. Remember, when you're only trying to select specific vertices, edges, or faces, you want edit mode. If you want to look at your whole object as a whole, you want to go into your object mode, okay? So I'm going to hit 1, and that's looking pretty wonky, and I'm loving that. Remember, you can always hit smooth, and that does help to make things a little bit smoother. I can probably hit it again. That's about as smooth as it's going to get. So there's my wonky potato. Perfect. I'm going to hit File, Save, and save my wonkiness. And then I want to change its color. So do you remember I can collapse this properties panel? I'm not needing that right now. I'm going to hit a 1. And I think I'll just go off of that because I think I'd rather just see it without the background. And color is the material tab, right? So click on your material tab, and remember you have to hit add to create a place marker for it, and then you're going to go new, and I'm going to name this material potato skin and hit enter. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to pick a potato color under diffuse. Okay, so let's just scroll that around and get a happy little potato color. Oh, such a happy little potato. Perfect. And you can increase or decrease the intensity to get different tones out of that. Nice. Oops, I just collapsed it. That's okay. It's still there. And then if you want a reflection, you can change the color of the reflection. Or if you were just enjoying that nice creamy color that you had before, just put that right in the middle, and that should look about right. Okay, you can also adjust this so that it's not quite so intense. And you can also adjust the intensity. You can make it brighter, or you can kind of dull it so there isn't a reflection. I'm digging the reflection, so I'm going to keep that. All right, let's go ahead and file, save as, and I'm just going to go version 2. Now I've got a version with color. Okay, hit enter twice. All right, I want to put a little bit of texture on my potato, and I'm going to show you now the texture tab. If you hover your cursor over all of these tabs, you can see that this is the texture. All right, it works just the same. You're going to click new, and you can name it. And I'll name this one potato skin texture. Okay, and hit enter. And then it says type. So you just want to select the type of texture that you'd like to work with. There's a preview window right here. It's going to kind of show you what it's going to look like. So I'm going to go wood, and it's not showing up. So I'm going to move into rendered mode. Oh dear. And I've got to fix that light. It's shining from behind. So I'm going back into solid mode because I won't be able to see my lighting in rendered mode. So click on solid. And I'm going to hit 7 for top mode because if I scroll out, I'll be able to see where my light's at and where my camera is. Okay, so maybe the first thing I want to do is adjust my camera. So I'm going to go to 1. And do you remember the shortcut that you hit to be able to show your camera from where you're looking? Well, that would be Control Alt, hold down at the same time and hit 0 on your number pad. Okay, this is now my camera is fixed to that front angle that I was looking at, and I am going to select the camera by right-clicking on the outer edge of it, or in my outliner I can also select the camera up here. You want to make sure your camera's selected, then hit G, Z, Z, all separately. And now when you move your mouse, it's going to move your camera view around so that your potato's right in your camera's view. How easy is that? You can hit G again and kind of move your mouse around and play around with that too. So you can do a different angle. You could also do like G and R, and you could rotate it. If you hit R again, it'll, whoa, rotate it in a different way. So that's fun. Okay, have fun with that. Excellent. So now that we have our camera set where we're going to render it, now let's take a look at where that light's at. So I'm going to hit 0 to toggle back out of my camera. I'm going to go 7 for my top view again, and I'm going to scroll back a little bit. And okay, wow, there's my camera way back there. And my light's up here, okay, but it's not doing any good. So I'm just going to right click on it to select it. And I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to move it over there. And you got to be careful with your camera because like when you go to render it, you don't want your camera right in the middle of your scene, right? Or your, oh, this isn't a light. This is a light. Sorry. Light. Here's your camera. There's your light. Sorry. You don't want your light in the middle of your scene. So I'm also going to hit the number 3 and just make sure that my light is up high so that when this is capturing that scene, you can't see the light. All right, so there it is. I'll hit 1 for front view. Okay, so it's shining about from that direction down. And I'm going to check out and see how my light works. I'm going to go into rendered. And I'm going to scroll in and I'm going to hit 0 for camera view. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. This is the texture that I have on it at this moment. Wow. Very interesting. Okay, so that's potato skin. All right, with wood. Okay, but do we want it to be wood? I'm going to try voxel. Nothing going on there. I'm going to try Voronoi. And that could be a cool potato texture. Let's see if I scroll down to the very bottom where there is this secondary color that's being used. And let's try to change that to something that would be a little more potato-y. My potato is looking a little not like a potato. So I'm going to go here and then I'm going to grab this and I'm going to see. I don't know. I just don't know, you guys. I don't know. I don't know if this color is working for me. Should be changing that color. There. Okay. Well, it's gray right now. I don't want it at gray. Maybe we can do something like this. Okay, I'll try that. And then other things that you can do is you can change the size of the texture that's on there. Okay, that's interesting. You can change this. So you can play around with the different settings. You've got an intensity. Okay, you can play with. There's a lot of different, there's like infinite options, so don't be afraid to play around with stuff. Yeah, this is how it's saying it looks, but honestly, it's not looking that way. Why is it purple? Okay, well, I'm going to try different. Okay, so that was Verona, and here's Stucci. I like Stucci. There's point density and ocean. Okay, nothing's happening with my ocean. I wonder why. Doo-doo. Well, I just don't want to spend forever looking around and figuring out why that's not working. Noise. Noise is kind of cool. Let me see if I can play around with noise. Offset, size. All right, well, I'm not seeing huge difference when I change that. Okay, there's noise. There's Musgrave, Marble, Magic. Apparently you can do an image or a movie. There's distorted noise. I just want to figure out how to get this distorted noise to look better. Oh, look, that's how you can get kind of like a starry scene with distorted noise. That's cool. Oh, here, look, contrast is giving me more of like those little dots that you like to see on your potatoes. I might go with that. Okay, so once you're happy with that texture, that's awesome. I'm gonna what am I in, solid view? I'm gonna go in my, okay. So that's what it's gonna look like in your rendered view. All right, and I'm gonna go File, Save As, and this is version 3. Now I've got some texture, okay, on my potato. Hit enter twice. Okay, so I'm going back into my solid mode, and I'm gonna hit 0 so that I'm not in my camera mode anymore. And let's just make sure that we have our sphere selected, and let's name that over here on our outliner. Let's call that potato sphere or potato shape, and hit enter. And now you have the name of that. I know it's selected, and if I hit the dot on my number pad, the dot, it brings it right front and center for me. My potato dude is looking so good. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is create an arm, and that sounds like that should be pretty easy, but remember I was telling you I want you to use a new layer. So I'm clicking on this new layer, and I'm gonna click on it here, and you'll notice that that hid that layer. So make sure that you don't see that layer anymore. Then you know that you're on a new layer. So let's make some arms, and I'm gonna put my cursor down in the center by holding Shift S and cursor to center. And then I'm going up to create, and I'm going to add a cylinder. Okay, and remember this down here, this operations panel, I have a chance right now to play around with the number of vertices. I can always smooth that later. One of the things to know that the more vertices you create, the more faces you create, the harder it's going to be for your computer to handle the information. So we want to make what's called a low poly potato at first. So fewer numbers of vertices. I can change the radius, and remember you just have this one time to play around with this. I can change the depth of it, and I think that looks about right. I can also change the location of it. So I can actually slide this over and raise it up. It wants to. I know you want to do it. No, that was, I need to put my Y at 0 because I was messing with the Y axis, and you couldn't tell because we're in ortho view and it doesn't show things in perspective. So it doesn't matter how far back it would go. I can also rotate it. So let's see, do I want to rotate it around the Y? Okay, so rotating around the Y or the X axis is not the effect that I want to go for. So I'm going to hit Control Z. Ooh, that's not what I meant. Well, you learned it from me, folks. Don't do that. Hey, it made another one. So it might just be easier for me to hit G and then Shift Y. I don't want this to move along the Y axis at all. I want it to stay on the ZX plane. So hit G for grab, and then hold Shift and Y down, and now I'll move it, and it's only staying on the Y. I can left click to drop it there, and then I can hit R, and I'm going to rotate it, but I want to hit Shift Y again so that it's only going to rotate on the X and Y axis or plane, and then I can just grab it and move it down here. So perfect. I've got, or hit G, Shift Y. So as long as you hit Shift Y, it's not going to move where you don't want it. Now I've already got a great arm made, so I'm going to duplicate this by hitting Shift D. So I'm just going to, it's already in my hand. Look at that. I'm going to plop it down over here. I'm going to rotate it, click R and Shift Y so that I'm not rotating in the Y axis, and then just left click to drop it, and then hit G, Shift Y so that when you grab it and move it, it's only moving in the Z, X plane. Okay, so hopefully before I wasn't messing things up. Now, if you want to see how those look together, you can grab your layer down here and hold down Shift and select the other one. And now you can just hold down your middle wheel and scroll around, and hey, check out how that looks. That looks great. So this one's already selected, so I'm going to apply the color to it. I'm going to click, oops, and remember, if you don't see anything over here, that's because it's scrolled all the way to the bottom. So just scroll up and, oh, phew, it's there. Okay, and so I'm going to go new, and you know what? I don't even think I need a new material for this because I already have the potato skin. So I'm just going to click on the potato skin, and that will work. Let me right click on the other arm, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on that potato skin and apply the potato skin there too. All right, let's go ahead and file, save as version 4. All right, version 4. Now I've got arms. Okay, dot blend. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to hit 1 so that I'm in front view again, and I'm going to hide my hands. I'm going to go into the third layer. So click on that third box there, and let's make some hands. So how we're going to do that is I'm going to teach you a cool feature called Extrude. And so you're basically going to be thinking ahead. You have to think some steps ahead. I'm going to make the shape of his hand with a rectangle, and then I am going to divide it up, and then we're going to extrude fingers out of that rectangle. Does that sound fun? You ready, kids? Let's do it. I'm going to scroll in here so we can see this real nice. Make sure that you're in a new layer now. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to grab a, what am I going to use? I'm grabbing a cube. One thing I could do is a plane. So I'm going to put, I'm going to set, let's see, I'm going to just drop my cursor right here, and I'm going to pull out, I'm just going to click on that properties panel, and there is actually a place 3D cursor. Okay, I want my Y value to be 0 because I don't want that going forward or back in space. When I hit 3, I want this plane that I'm about to put here. I think I'm going to use a plane. You're going to like this. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to use a plane. I want to show you how extrude works. No, I'm not. I'm going to use a cube. It's going to mess it up if I use the plane. Okay, cube. Now I inserted it. Okay. So I am going to scale this, and I'm just going to go ahead and first I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to hit R, and I'm going to hold Shift Y so that I'm only rotating it along the Z and X plane. And I'm going to left click to drop it there, and then I'm going to hit S, and I'm just going to scale it down now. Okay. And I'm going to hit S again. Oh, actually, no, I'm just going to go down here and manually hit this scale. That's not going to work. So I'm going to have to hit Control Z. Control Z. Don't rotate it first. Okay. Scale it first. Okay. Scale it first. And then I'm going to hit 3 because I want it to be thin because it's the hand, right? So how thick do you want Mr. Potato Head's hand to be? Probably about that thick. Looks good to me. Hit 1, and now I'm back in front. And let's divide this. I think I can rotate it now. I think that now that I've got it pretty scaled. So I hit R. I don't know, hopefully since I'm in orthogonal front view, it's not rotating in any of the Y direction. I'm gonna hit G and move it. And I don't think it's moving up through the Y direction, but I can hit 3 just to check. Yeah, it's right along the middle of the axis. So it looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you how to use the knife. You ready to use the knife, kids? Click on Tools. Okay, and let's go ahead and find a knife. I might have to slide this down. Oh, is there a knife here? I might have to be in edit mode. Okay, remember whenever you want to do anything crazy to your shape that's not holistic, you want to break it down. I'm going to use my knife. Okay, here we go. Knife, and I'm going to hit A just to, I'm going to right click just to get rid of that and hit. Okay, let's go and let's try it again. Knife. So I want to cut some division, so I'm just going to click and drag and click and hit enter, and there's a division, and I'll grab my knife, and you can also hit K, the shortcut. Okay, click and drag and hit enter, hit K, click, drag, and enter, and K, click, drag, and enter. Okay, so now we're going to, let's see if this actually did what I intended it to do. Because I have a feeling when I scroll around, oh, yeah, it didn't go all the way through the cube. How do I fix that? Hit 1. I'm going to hit Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Okay, so there's this cool little button down here. I'm so glad you're watching this video. You're going to learn so much today. There's this cool little button right here that says Limit Selection to Visible. So right now, all it's showing, if I click on anything, it's only going to select the visible parts. But if I want to select all the stuff that's behind it too, like this, I wonder, oh, you know what? I might just do a loop select. I might have to do that. Yeah, but if I wanted to be able to select like all the stuff behind it, for example, if I wanted to use B, I'm gonna go 1 and do a box select, like hold down B and go like that. Cool thing is it's gonna select what I can't see too, which is awesome if you're needing to select the front and the back at the same time. Okay, so B for box select or border select. I'm going to hit A to deselect everything. And you know what I'm going to do? I forgot all about this, but we have loop cut selections. Loop cut, okay? And the shortcut for loop cut is Alt R. Now, if you're ever wondering how to find something, if you hit your space bar, you can actually pull up this little search thing. So I'm going to go loop cut. And look at that, it shows me Control R is the shortcut. So if you can't remember what duplicate is, where's duplicate? Shift D. Okay, I can't remember cursor to center. Where's cursor to center? Oh, snap cursor to center. It doesn't tell me, but I can go ahead and click on that. Oh, it didn't. It probably just snapped it to the center. Okay, I'm going to do loop select now. So I'm just going to hold down Control and R, and you'll notice that this pink loop shows up, and you can go in that direction or you can go in this direction. So I want it to go vertical, so I'm just gonna left click, and then once I left click, the loop is attached to my cursor and I can slide it back and forth. So I'm gonna slide it to that spot right there, and perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and do Control R, and you know what? I can actually do my scroll wheel and go 1, 2, 3. I want 3 more of them. Cool. So left click and I can move those where I want them. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got. I'm gonna hit A, right click, I'm gonna hit A, and I'm just gonna hold down my scroll wheel, and oh, look at those lovely loops. That is so beautiful. I have to tell you, I'm not sure if I hold down 3, why is that looking so funny? I am not positive. Oh. Huh. All right, I'm going to click this so that I can only see. I don't see through it. Okay, so I can see all my sides. I'm going to hit 1 again. All right, perfect. So what I'm going to be doing is extruding some fingers here, okay? So I am going to, I'm going to select the face. I'm going to go face select, and I want to select this face right here. So I selected it and hit 1, so I'm back in this view again. And I'm going to show you how to extrude fingers. Okay, so ready? E, just click E, and then drag. Whoa, okay. So I can drag it halfway if I want to, and then I can just click it and I can hit S and I can scale it. I can hit G and I can move it, okay? And then I can hit R and rotate it. And then I can hit E and extrude it again. Click to release. I can hit S and scale. Now I'm going to hit E again, and I'm going to extrude to the fingertip. And I'm going to hit S, and this time I'm going to scale it down. And there's my first finger. Super cute. Let's go ahead, file, save as. Whoops. Let's do version 5, finger 1. Whoops, I forgot. Oh. Dot blend. Enter, enter. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over here. I've got face select. I'm going to right click on that face. Now, there's also this thing called snapping, and I want to turn off my snapping. I don't want anything snapping, and right here there's also this thing, automatically merge vertices, and I don't want to merge any vertices, so make sure that that's light and not dark. Unless you want vertices merging, then that's a great thing, but I don't for this situation. So I'm going to hit 1, and I'm going to go E and just move my mouse. Cool. And I'm going to hit G and just move it over just a little bit. And I'm going to hit S just to scale that knuckle out a touch. And then E to extrude up again. S to make it a little wider. And then E, extrude. S, scale that fingertip down. Perfect. All right, so you can go into side view and take a look at how that looks. Whew, that is looking too wide. So we probably can fix that by holding down, let's do loop select here. Edge select. And you're going to hold down Alt and right click, and it'll select that entire edge. And because of the fact that I have the scale tool on, I can just scale it in that direction so that that is not quite so wide, and I can Alt right click on that one, and I can bring that in a little bit if I want to. So if you're not happy with that side, Alt right click and scale that one in. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. All right, now I'm going to hit 1 and come back to my front view, and I'm going to scroll so I can see my top, and I'm going to set this to face select. I'm going to right click that face, hit 1 for my front view again. I'm going to hold down shift and scroll, control and scroll so I can see to this side. E, extrude, and G, move it over. Okay, now here's the cool thing is, remember how I wasn't really liking how wide it was getting on the y-axis? To scale without scaling on the y-axis, just hold down the shift Y to exclude Y from your scaling. Okay, and then E, extrude, click, G, grab it and move it a little bit. Okay, you can hit scale and do that shift Y to exclude the Y direction, and then E, extrude, and S, shift, hold down Y. That way. Now let's look at 3. Good. That time it didn't make it wider along the Y direction. Perfect. All right, so I don't want to take up the whole entire time that I have to make up this video to show you that, but that's how you use extrude. Hit 1. So that's how you can quickly make some hands for yourself. Now, something that I want to show you really quick is that you can also extrude vertices. So if I click on Vertex Select, okay, if I wanted to, I could just click this vertex right here and this vertex by holding down Shift. I'm going to go back to 1 and I'm going to hit E, and it's just extruding those vertices. And it did make a face out of them automatically. Okay, let's say I'm going to do that. Let's say I'm going to go ahead and right click on this one and shift to right click on that one and hit E. Go back to front view and hit E, and I'm going to extrude those as well right here. Okay. All right. So awesome. Well, we got the making of almost a thumb. How do I join? How do I fill that in? It's so easy. Okay. So I'm going to hit A to deselect everything. Always deselect before you do these types of things, okay? You don't want to have, because it'll hold on to selections that are in a different part of your design and start extruding and doing weird things in other places that you're not aware of. So I'm going to right click there. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I am going to select all the faces that are going to make, all the vertices that will make a face, and then I'm going to just hit the letter F as in face, and it fills it in with a face. Perfect. Let's do that here. So hit A to deselect everything, right click, hold down Shift and select the vertices, and then hit F and it creates a face. Okay, same thing. A to deselect everything, right click and hold down Shift to select your vertices and hit F. Wow, that's so cool. I'm going to hit 1. Okay. And I'm going to go to object mode. And I'm going to, okay, now it's looking a little different color. So let's check some other thing. I know I'm teaching you a lot today. But there's this thing called normals. I'm going to go back into edit mode. And it's right here. It's under mesh display. And we want to look at the faces. Okay? Aha. So when you have when your normals, when your surfaces are set up the way that they are supposed to, those little lines stick out, and you'll notice on those new surfaces that I made that those are not sticking out. They're sticking in. If we scroll in, could probably get inside of this thing and see that. I don't know, but anyway, scrolling back out. So what we're going to do is we're going to select these faces, and we're going to change the normals. So how I can do that is I'm just going to hit 1, and remember this one right here. Well, I'm going to go ahead and make it so that I can see through it. Make sure you can see through it, so I can select all of the faces at one time. Okay, so I'm just going to hit 1, and I'm going to have it on face select, and I'm going to do let's see. I'm going to do C, and I'm just going to select. Am I on face select? Yeah, I'm on face select. So hopefully that selected all those faces. Let's right click to get out of that. See? Yep. See, just colored, selected all those faces because I'm on face select. Okay. So now I'm going to hit my space bar because I don't remember how to do this. And I'm just going to type in normals. And here we go. Flip normals. Boom. Flipped it for us. Now, when I go to render and hit A, those are going to look the way that they are supposed to. So you do get those clues when something is a funny color. you know that something didn't quite render. It didn't, the face of it, it's facing the wrong way. It's inverted. So you got to flip that normal, okay? All right, I'm going to hit 1. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into solid mode or object mode. And I am going to hit shift and I'm going to select everything here. And I'm going to hit the dot so that, yeah, I'm going to hit A to try to select all. Okay, now I'll hit dot. All right, so I'm going to zoom in. And now you'll notice I've got some problems here, right, with the way that this is looking. Okay, it's a little wonky. Hey, it's the wonky donkey. Okay, so how am I gonna fix that? Well, I can get rid of this. I can just look at this for a second, and I could. Okay, there it is. I could probably just go in and select, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this thing in my view. I could probably just select the face of that by going into edit mode. Hit A, okay. Select it, okay. Now I can go into edit mode. Everything was selected, so it wasn't liking that. Okay, now I can hit A again to deselect, and I can click face, and I can just right click and select that face, and I can hit S, and I can actually scale that down. And let's see if now that works better. So I'm gonna hit A to deselect everything, and I'm gonna go to object mode, and now my layers show up again. I'm gonna hold down shift and put all my layers out. Hey, look at that, that's looking good. I'm gonna hit 1, and I'm gonna scroll out so I can see everything. I can hide my potato image. Just click that little eyeball there, and looking good. Okay, so you can change the color of his glove, so just hide your other layers again, and just click on the glove layer, right click on it to select it, go over to your materials, click add, click new, call that glove. Okay, and then decide what color you want to make his glove. There is just a pure white if you want to do pure white gloves, or maybe you want to do something radical like red gloves. Okay, and you can look at that by holding down shift. See how that looks. And don't forget to create a floor. How do you create floors? You want that cursor down at the center. You want to go shift S, cursor to center, and you're just going to create a plane. It's already down there. Just hit S and drag your mouse to scale. And I just keep picking it up and moving it and scaling it so that it's bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's a nice floor. You want to make that floor a special color. Oh, look it, I put my plane on the wrong layer. So let's see if I click. Yeah. Nah. Where did I put my plane? There's my plane. I'm just gonna go ahead and Control X. I don't know if that's gonna work, and I'll go to that one and hit Control V. It doesn't work. So if you accidentally did your plane on the wrong layer, just select it by right clicking and hit X and delete it. And then come over to your new layer. Yeah, make sure that cursor's in the center, and then make your plane. Hit S to scale it. Yeah, you gotta do everything on a different layer because it makes it so much easier to make changes in the end. And I think, hold down shift, and now that you have that in a different layer and you know that it's selected, you can go ahead and make your other layers visible as you're picking your color. I'm just going to click plus to create a spot for the new material. I'll call this floor and hit enter, and diffuse is here. Double click, or one click actually, is all you need, and you can create an exciting Thanksgiving patio. Yes, there we go. I love it. You can play around with the intensity of that. You can play around with the reflection, the color. You could change if you want to do a different, it's not going to show up because it's just a plane, but you could go with a different reflection color. And usually those types of changes will show up here, how it's going to look. So I don't think that really did much. Oh well, I like it. I'm sticking with it. Okay, so there's your floor color, and then your eyes. So eyes are fun, right? What would you do for your eyes? So click on a new layer, okay, and go ahead and hold down Shift so that you can see your potato, and go 1 so that you can see your picture. So what do you think you would use for your eyes? Okay, so I'm just going to do the whites of the eyes right now by grabbing a UV sphere. And I don't know, yep, my cursor was at the center. Oops, I have, I'm going to hit Control Z. I have my scale tool selected. So I need to click my translate tool so that those arrows show up, and I can move that up here. I can move it over here. And I can hit G and hit Y so I can isolate the movement. There it goes. And then move my cursor and yeah, G and Y. It's working real well. Loving my demo, Mrs. Girot. That's looking good. I'm going to try it again. G and Y. There we go. Okay, so I'll just click there. Oh, that's not even close to where I wanted it. 7, top view. Do it manually then. Boom. Now it's popping out. I like that. Okay. I'm going to go 1 so I can see it from the front again. And if I want to scale it just along the Z-axis, hit S and Z, and that'll elongate it. I could do S and X, and I could make it a little thinner. Okay. And maybe I'm still not completely thrilled that it's not totally popping out. Maybe I want to rotate it a little bit there. Okay, so look at things from different angles, and let's go ahead and make that, maybe I can make that white. So I'm going to go ahead over here to my materials, and I'm going to go new, and this is going to go white eye. Oh, what's that called? Sclera of the eye. The white part. Okay, and I'm just going to click on that and go all the way up to white and hit enter, and increase the intensity to 1. Okay, and there's my white eye. And now that I have that, I can do a duplicate of it. Okay, so Shift D, and then, oh, look at that. It's moving all around. I don't want it to move all around, so if I hold down Shift Y, that'll make it so that it doesn't move along the y-axis, and I can just move him over here, scroll around, make sure that it's looking good from all angles, and it looks fantastic. That's awesome. Okay, next, going to 1, I'm going to make the black in the eye, and I'm going to do a new layer. So click on a brand new layer and get your little sphere and bring that up over, okay, and scale it with S. Sorry, I'm not telling you your commands. S and Z will allow you to scale it up and down, and then go ahead and, yeah, I'm going to go 7, top view. Where's my potato? Hey, I can't even see my potato. It's because he's not visible. You got to hold down Shift. There, now I can see my potato. Okay, bring that out. Boop. There they are. I'm going to go 1 so I can see that from the front view. Okay, and I'm going to change the color of it to black. So coming over to my materials, add, new, okay, black of eye, or what's that called, pupil? Okay, or it could be the iris, the black iris, and then just slide this down to get your black. Perfect. It's got a nice specular on it. It's got a nice reflection. You can bring that, yep, that's all the way up to white. You can increase the intensity of that reflection. I really like that a lot. You could try these different reflections, see which one you like the best. That one's really bright. I think tune's my favorite. Okay, so once you have that done, then you can hit Shift D, duplicate it, and Shift Y so that when you move it, it only moves along the Z and X plane, and hit 1 so you can make sure that you have that where that you want that G, Shift Y, and get that where you want it. Okay, so those are just some basics on how to go about creating your character. It can be as difficult as this or not. The last thing I need to show you, because class is starting in 8 minutes, is how to animate your potato man. Okay, so make a plane for the background. Okay, let's do that really quick. Brand new layer, add a plane. We're going to use this rotation option right here. We're going to rotate around the x-axis 90 degrees, and we're going to hit S, and we're going to, it's not liking that, hit S and scale it. Okay, and pick a pretty color for it. Let's do, remember, scroll up. Let's call this sky. Okay, and I'm going to make this sky just a pretty, I already had a blue color. Maybe I should use something like that. Okay, and let's go ahead and hold down Shift and take a look at what we've got here. Okay, so I'm going to hit 3, and it looks like my plane needs to come back here. Okay, and let's go ahead and 1 view, and let's look at the rendered view. Oh, how cute. Hide that picture. Oh, look at, he's adorable. Oh, I don't have a lot of light. Okay, be thinking about adding more lights. Remember, add lamp, and you have all these different kinds of lamps. Okay, we can just take a quick look at my lamp right now. Let's go over to the outliner and let's click on lamp, and if you have this little tab right here for the data of the lamp object, you can go through these different types of lights and take a look at the one you like best. The problem that we're having with my lamp, I'm going to go to spot, and I'm going to go back into solid mode, is, let's scroll back a little bit and hit 3. Look at my light's not even pointed at him. So I need to hit R and R again, and I need to move it so that that lamp is actually pointing at Mr. Potato. Might have to come into a different angle and get it just right. Okay, so let's go to 1 again, move him just a tad that way. I'm going to select my floor, and I want to move my floor up just a little bit so I'm not seeing the grid underneath. Okay, I am going to, I'd already set up my camera, so I'm going to 0. I'm in my camera mode now, and I'm going to go into my rendered, and oh, it's so cute. Let's animate it. You're like, oh my gosh, I only have like 2 minutes left to animate this. I know, we can do it. Hit 0 to get out of your camera mode, go back into solid mode, and here we go. Animating is super easy. I'm gonna just grab this and I'm gonna slide it up, okay? And I can hide this if I want to give myself a little more room. And this is your timeline, okay? Where the green line is where you're gonna set your keyframes. Each of these is a frame, okay? You don't wanna have 250 frames, so I'm gonna go ahead right now and just put that at 100, okay? Because the more frames you have, the longer it's gonna take to render, all right? This tells you which frame you're at. You can always grab the green line and move it around, and you'll notice that that number is changing, okay? I wanna have it at 1, okay? That's the start of my animation. Now, down here you have automatic keyframe insertion. Click on that, okay? And click on that. All right, this, every time I move him, it's gonna set a keyframe. So I'm just gonna, now that, this will be my first keyframe, okay? So I'm gonna move this over a little bit, and then I am going to go A, whoops, no, I don't wanna select all my lights and everything, so not A. Let's get rid of the layers that we don't want to see. So I don't want to see the sky. Okay, so I want to see this one. Hold down Shift, this one, and this one, and this one. Nope, not that one. And the eyes. Okay, so that's my dude. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I have okay, I'm gonna hit I'm gonna go into okay, I'm gonna hit B for box select. I don't want that light in there, so I'm gonna try to get rid of that. I'm gonna go B box select, and I'm just gonna go like this. And that selected the light too. I don't want the light, so I'm going to hold on, shift. Nah, okay. Easiest way to do it, hit A. I'm just gonna hit right click, hold on, shift, 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 shift. I don't want that stinking light. I'm gonna come around over here. Shift, shift. This is the only part about having everything on a different layer, so my apologies about that. I just want to be able to hit G. It's not liking something, hold on. Okay, you can actually hide your camera. I forgot about that. Okay, so let's hide the camera. Okay, I'm gonna hide, what's that cube? Okay, so camera's hidden, lamp, hide, okay, plane, hide, plane, okay, all these other things are good, cube, cylinder, okay, I should just be able to hit A and select everything and hit G and move everything around at the same time, okay, so you can hide stuff over there so that you can just grab what you want. Okay, so in that first keyframe, he was like right there. I can raise him up now and just drop him down right there, and that made another keyframe automatically. Now I can slide this over, and I can hit G and move him up a little higher, and that'll make another keyframe right there. I can slide that over, hit G, and maybe I want to rotate him. Ah! And there goes another keyframe. Grab this, slide it over, rotate him some more. Ah, great. Another keyframe. Okay, I'm gonna rotate him some more, and I'm gonna G grab him and drop him a bit, and I'm gonna move him. I'm gonna keep G, drop him a little bit and rotate him, and G grab him, move him down a little bit more. Maybe he's falling faster. Rotate him. And he is going to, bam, hit the ground. Okay, oops, I think I forgot to do a new keyframe for that. I don't even want to do Control Z, so I'm going to move him back up. Let's move this over, G, boom, he hits the ground. Okay, slide this over a little bit more. He's going to bounce up and over a little bit. So yeah. And new keyframe. Grab him, move him over, rotate him. Probably have to grab him and bring him down. And okay, so there it is, and I ended at keyframe 87, so I'll just go ahead and make this 90 for the end of it, and now you can just, let's go ahead and make all the layers visible. I'm going to hold down shift and make everything visible. Solid mode. Oh, over here, I've got to make everything visible here. I'm going to slide in a little bit, and let's press play. And there's my animation, okay? And then